Everybody, this is Father Warner D'Souza, and we are reflecting today on the text of Matthew chapter 8 verses 1 to 4. The leper knelt before him and said, "Lord, if you choose, you can make me well." The Sermon on the Mount has ended, and the Gospel writer Matthew, having shown Jesus as the Messiah of word, now presents him as the Messiah of the deed. In this section, spanning chapters 8 verse 1 to chapter 9 verse 38, we will read of 9 miracle pericopes that encompass 10 individual miracles. The first of these miracles is the cleansing of the leper. Jesus has finished preaching the Sermon on the Mount and is followed now by large crowds. It is a leper who comes to him, kneels before him, calls him Lord, and asks to be made clean. In one swift move, Jesus does the unthinkable. He touches a leper. Even with the knowledge that modern science gives us, we loathe touching a leper. For those living in the first century, this was one of the most dreaded diseases, enough for God to give Moses extensive instructions, which we see in Leviticus chapter 13 and 14. The biblical understanding of leprosy included a variety of skin ailments. Leviticus 13 and 14 list at least 7 medical conditions, including scaly skin and blemish, as leprosy. At the time of Jesus, the lepers were despised from society, driven from their homes as outcasts, and had to wear torn clothes, let their hair hang loose, cover their upper lip, and cry, "Unclean, unclean." To add to the distress of the person, the physical quarantine was twisted into a moral judgment as sinners. It is not clear if the leper in the miracle had what we identify today as leprosy, namely Hansen's disease. Perhaps it could have been psoriasis or any other skin ailment. For had it been a more distinct skin disease, he would have surely been driven out of this large crowd, to say nothing of him being able to get even close to Jesus. All through the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus talks of fulfilling the law, and in doing so goes beyond what the law asks. He not only cleanses the man, but in fulfillment of the Jewish law, sends the man off to the priests to be examined. But what the Lord preached on the mountain, he lived in the plains. The authentic living of Jesus is seen in his first miracle in the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus did not have to touch the leper. There are many healings that he performed that did not involve touching. Besides, this act would have made him unclean in the eyes of the law, and yet he touches to demonstrate the visible sign of God's love to even an outcast. There is also the faith of the leper to be considered. He risks everything to make his way to Jesus, for if discovered, he could have been stoned. He sees in Jesus a man of authority and puts his faith in him. "If you wish," he says, "you can make me clean." There is no demand or insistence in a healing, just a humble request. And in that moment, the leper came face to faith. I thank you for listening to these reflections. And if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Share the faith with one another. Share this with your friends. God bless you.